I don't know. I'm not used to vlogging. I'm just gonna film stuff. We'll make it work. If not, this will all just end up in a trash can. Or maybe not, because I'm a digital hoarder and I keep every single file that I shoot. Okay, so today is a relatively big day. We've got lots of boxes to unpack, but basically what I want to do is this podcast setup that we've had, that we've been testing, it's working really well, like better than expected, so that's great. The downside is, and I'm probably going to cut some B-roll in here, the setup is not totally easy to transform, and it's in a room that really its primary purpose should be like it's easy to record, ready to record video, not podcasting. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all the mic arms and all the hardware that's associated with it, like the preamps for the headphones, the I/O that goes to Dante that takes the mics into the computer. All that stuff is going to get mounted to the table so that that table just has a couple of patch points for power, a couple of network connections, and it's self-sufficient. And we can disconnect that table with the mic arms and everything on it, wheel it around to wherever it needs to go, and then reconnect power and data, and you're ready to go. Like it's connecting to the computer and all that stuff, but everything, all the hardware associated with it just lives with the table. That sounds really easy, but to do that well, it takes some hardware, it takes some time, it takes some cable management to make it look neat, to make it look clean. The other thing that we're adding is we've realized with these SM7B microphones, even though the Rio can drive them, we're getting some headphone preamp hiss. So to gain a higher quality, we really like the SM7B, we like the sound, we like the dynamic response, all that jazz, but it's a well-known thing that it takes a lot of preamp to drive those mics. So we've got in one of these boxes, hopefully, a cloud lifter that is going to basically take 48 volt phantom power and basically drive those mics a little bit more. It's what it's designed to do. They're great. We have a bunch of them, the little singles. Actually, we have a dual here that was for something else, so that can go back to like what it was being used for. And we have a rack mount 4-channel unit that'll work really well with that. The other thing we're doing is we're putting in a network switch so that we can return the one that we're borrowing back to production, and we have our own network switch, and we can manage VLANs and all that stuff. We're also introducing a Stream Deck to the table and to the producer control station so that they should have some really easy controls right at their fingertips. I can't remember if I bought a DI for the PCs to be able to like play back audio like from your phone or from your PC or whatever. If not, that's on the next section of this. It's also, we're doing some like, you know, label cables, make things nice. So that's today's plan. Most of this is just going to be like straight up time lapse, unless I find something interesting. So anyway. Power conditioners, because the power in this building is awful. We but damaged and had to send out for repair 2 Kino flows, actually, in this room. And so we're learning our lesson. Everything in this building basically needs to be on a conditioner because it's awful. And getting those repaired is not cheap. I think that's everything. I'm missing a couple of things. Of course, that's everything. We're missing a couple things. You can tell I don't do video often. We are missing a few things. So we got these DTAP connectors. You probably can't see that on that, so I'll try to get a close up. We got a DTAP network. There should be 3 of those. There's only 1. And a PowerCon in, which is great. That's fine. I don't have the little custom, it's not really custom, but it's basically a 2-gang plate that will go to this guy. So this will go to one of the table legs. Might be a terrible idea, but we're gonna try it because I wanna mount all the connections low. So we'll basically have all connections sitting in that. And I'm gonna spray paint all that black so it kind of disappears a little bit. But this will mount to the table leg. We'll put that faceplate on the front, put these plugs basically into this, and run all the cabling to that. The reason being, that way we don't have like the cable going to it is not just hanging from the box. It basically provides some strain relief. It also provides a point where we can disconnect and move the table around and then figure out the cable. There's also, went to Lowe's this morning, things to manage cables, a couple connectors to secure the cables into that box, and just good old metal strip to do cable management for beefier things if there's a lot of cables that like these are not going to cover. So anyway, here's the Cloud Lifter, network switch from Ubiquiti, Unify, whatever. It's a Dream Machine Pro. They were actually on sale because all this stuff was on Black Friday. These are little 4U mounts. They can be mounted onto the wall and like you can hang stuff in this way, or they can be mounted to a table and you can hang stuff in that way. That's how we're going to do it. There we go. And just like that, sorry, that's probably better. Just like that, probably a day, 2 days worth of work is done in about less than 30 minutes. So now we start mounting stuff to the table. Okay, done for the day because one, I'm at a stopping place and I was realizing I was getting like lazy. I was taking shortcuts and so it's like, yeah, it's time to be done. So now it's cleanup. I'm gonna take a video and show you what it's like before cleanup because the studio is a mess. And I think it's good to see that and know that you gotta make things messy to clean things up and make it good. I'm also gonna show what I've done so far because I'm not convinced that the B-roll's any good. So we'll see. And actually, I am out of focus. Much better, maybe. That's right, I had to turn autofocus off because of it was doing weird things when I was doing the arms. So anyway, let's take a look at what's been done so far. Okay, well, all 4 arms are mounted. Let's turn autofocus back on. Yeah, all 4 arms are mounted and they are like screwed into the table. Only put 2 screws in each because that was plenty stable. And that's how many screws I had of that size. All 4 are run underneath the table. Whoa, break my wrist getting that shot. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then those go in to here. So that's Cloud Lifter input 1. It comes out and goes to this coil for each one. And then that coil goes to the input on the Rio. So I started, the ears, I'm not thrilled about mounting, how they're mounted. I ended up having to go with those little straps because the things that I bought, these things, they were gonna be perfect because they're at just the right height. I could put them on the table and they would stick down and they would just like, it would put the little, you know, head amp unit like right here, right at the perfect height. And then those threads don't match what's on either of the set of in-ears. So this is temporary and it's gonna be swapped. But anyway, cabling started to get lazy on these, like wiring those headphone preamps up. So I was just like, you know what? It's time to be done. Good way to keep the arm desk mounts with these is to make them headphone holders. So those are the clamps. Ow, happens every time. Those are the clamps that go to these if you don't want to screw those into the table. So, but yeah, I mean, the place it's a mess. See if I can get back wide enough. There's tools everywhere. There's stuff on the couch. But work in progress. And the good thing is I've reserved the room for the entire week. So tomorrow is mostly meetings, but I'll be able to pop down here for an hour or 2 at a time and just start to take care of stuff. And I think I'll definitely be able to get this done this week. Oh, there are screws through the top of the table. All right, I thought all my screws were the right depth. That's great. I need to tape those so that people see that. Don't puncture their hand or damage their laptop or something. Did he really just come in and shoot an opening segment like it was my first time coming in the office? You realize these vloggers, like, that's not how they do that. Like, they have to come in, turn the camera on, put an SD card in, all that jazz. And then they come in and act like it's their first time in the room. Oh, that's not what I want to do with this. I am not a vlogger. I just like to film things, and I haven't filmed anything creative just for my own purposes for a long time because it has kind of become just my job. And really, a lot of my job has gotten away from like super like creative stuff. It's come down to a lot of just project management, which I do enjoy, and I feel like I do well. But I'm spending less and less time with cameras and microphones, and I still do a fair amount of editing, but yeah, so this is a creative outlet. Two, I think a lot of the stuff that we're doing is probably like other people could find a use case for the stuff that we're doing. So I might as well like film it, because I have certainly benefited from other people on the internet before me, like showing how they did a thing. And so that's super, super helpful. I don't know if any of this will be helpful, but anyway. So I realized I never got a close-up of the damage yesterday. Or not yesterday, whatever day I was working on this. You ready? Look at that. Oh yeah. Yeah. So one goal for today, for sure, is to remedy that situation. Times 4, I did it on every single mounting screw on that rack rail. So. Now, is that the perfectly right way to do it? No. I should have just done the right depth screws to begin with, and should have measured twice, installed or screwed it in once. But stuff happens. This table is also, like, it is far from being in perfect condition. It has all kinds of scuffs and nicks and things like that. So the main point I wanted to do was make sure those screw heads were, not screw heads, the screw tips were flat, so that like someone didn't hurt their hand or their laptop or whatever as they were, you know, using a table like a table. If we ever do a video thing in here, and maybe I'll do it now, but for sure, if we ever do like a video thing in here, I'll get those little like wood, like flooring marker crayon things that like you can color in and kind of make scratches and scuffs disappear. It is what it is. It's safe now, and it's not going to fall. Like, it's, you know, there's plenty of screw thread left in there. It's just the very teeny tiny last little like 1/8 of an inch that was sticking up. So anyway, yep, back under the table to mount some more stuff and run some more wire. I'm obviously wearing different clothes because it's Friday, and I'm sure I probably cut a tremendous amount of footage from yesterday afternoon down quite a bit because it was basically me trying to do the same thing unsuccessfully in 3 different ways. And learned something yesterday that Speak-On connectors, those are either supposed to be screwed in or they're supposed to have little slidey clippy things and not soldered. You can, though I don't think it's the standard, you can solder them with a smaller AWG or like wire gauge. Definitely don't do that with 12 gauge. You can't heat the wire up enough to take the solder, and even if you do, apparently because they're, I don't know if that'll show up, this is not solid wire, it's stranded. Apparently, even if you do get this hot enough, it will wick up and you'll have a really long, stiff section of soldered cable even past, like it will pass the insulated jacket for the wire. So, I was so frustrated at the end of the day yesterday that did no cleanup, didn't even move the camera. Like I didn't even put the battery on charge. I took my SD card and I went and I did broadcast slides. So, and then did some Googling to try to figure out how the heck am I supposed to do this? So, this morning, went to Lowe's. Now we have crimpy things, a crimper, and because our like tools in the studio are starting to get like, we've got a bunch, which is great. It means we're starting to be able to do more stuff on our own and not have to borrow equipment from production or whatever, or bring my own personal gear in. Now it can all live in one place, it can be relatively organized. So, there we go. Okay, sit rep. I plugged in the table, both power and data. It didn't explode, which is great. I'll take that as a win. Number 2, my controller back there is, I use the same network cable. It's super tight, so I'm either gonna have to pull some slack back this way so that, you know, it's obviously not just, I'll get some B-roll of that. It's a mess. So I think what happened is my pinout is reversed on one of the ends of the Cat5. So we've got a Cat5 that I know is good. We're gonna test it just in case. Then we're gonna test connection between on that cable, basically to make sure that the ends aren't reversed. My gut is I probably got the pinout backwards. So like I said, I always go through probably 2 RJ45 connectors per Cat5 termination because I am not a very good installation tech, but I'll eventually make it work. Anyway, this is not a good promo video for like a work, what's it called? Portfolio. All right, back to B-roll, or not B-roll, time lapse. Or actually, I do need to get you B-roll. Let's take a look at that mess. What? That right there. So that purple cable that goes all the way back, it's a little tight. Anyway, need to work on that. But I have slack in the other room, so I'll probably just pull the slack back this way. All right, let's get you set up for cable testing. So this is the producer station. Basically, this is a Mac Mini where the producer sits and we record into Reaper. I'm not going to go into technical details on how that works now because I've already done that kind of on Instagram, and I got to get some stuff done. But what I hope to install is another 4U rack rail. I'm debating on whether or not I put it on this desk. I'm going to see how sturdy that is. It may go on the wall. I'll also have to test how sturdy that is, because if I can find a stud. There's a power conditioner here, a network switch, replacing that SM7B with just it's literally a Radio Shack mic that I got for free from somewhere. The producer mic does not have to sound good. They are rarely, if ever, actually going on the air. Giving them a switch just in case, and a little short tabletop stand rather than having to deal with a boom arm, and we can reallocate that SM7B somewhere else. There's XLR cables and there's a Stream Deck for them as well, so that they can get to some things quickly and mute and unmute their producer mic quickly, or press a button to unmute their mic just for one of the hosts, so they can talk back just to like one person at a time. Anyway, oh, and the good thing is my TO did show up, so that network cable fix, it worked. So on to the next thing. This is the next thing. Let's go. So because I don't think this desk is suitable for mounting that bracket on, and because the studs on that wall are 24 on center, not 16 on center, and because I don't have drywall anchors, because I don't want to mount it to the concrete on the other side of that wall, then have to just deal with getting cables out of that wall again, we're going to call an audible. We're going to mount the stuff in the rack that we already have. I was planning on giving that rack back to production, but we're going to keep it for a little while longer. So I'm going to install our new network switch in there. I'm going to install our power conditioner, and basically pull their switch and their conditioner out, so that effectively everything in there is as it would be if it were installed on the wall or installed on the desk, or however we're going to decide to do that in the future. But that way we can still do the work of getting the switch configured and getting Stream Deck done and doing the system test. So changing gears, going on the fly. Here we go.
recorded a whole summary thing, but forgot to turn my audio receiver on. Anyway, okay. Everything is plugged in and working. The only thing I'm having trouble figuring out is how to get these rotary encoders to adjust my channel sends on Reaper, which is a very niche, very specific thing to do. So that's going to take some figuring. But the switch is working. The Rio and Tio are being seen on Dante. They're working great. Mic has been replaced. We need to test levels, but I need other people here to do that because I can't walk back and forth to microphones. So we'll test that Monday morning with Emily. But yeah, the USB hub in there was working great. I moved it into here so that I could kind of fiddle with it a little bit more. But yeah, we're in really good shape. Like, we could record a show right now. I'd want to do mic checks, but we could record a show right now. So that's successful. At this point, it's like I need to get into figuring this thing out. What I want it to do is I want it to be able to go, like, if person 4 is saying that person 1 is too hot in their ears, I want to be able to select person 1's mic and then turn down the send that's going to send person 4's ears. Anyway, that part I haven't figured out. So, but anyway, it's time to go. I got to be done for the day. So I'll probably be back Sunday to try to tidy up and just clean up and all that jazz. So almost done. Okay, last day on this project. Project that I thought would take a day, maybe a day and a half. This is day 4. Maybe not 4 full days, but yeah, I'm at the point of this project where I'm a little sick of it. Today is cleaning up, because tomorrow will be its first use, at least in this configuration. And I'm going to give this one last swing, like working on Stream Deck and Companion, and try to make sure that that kind of works how I want it to. Like, I really want them to be able to adjust their own ears, like really badly. And I feel like I'm so close, and I had to leave like right when I was like maybe 15-20 minutes away. Like, I feel like, you know, like one more Google away and I'm like, I'm gonna get this, and then it was just, you know, it all disappeared. But I feel like we're so close to getting this figured out to where, like, boom, adjust those sends. But we'll give that another swing after cleaning up, because cleanup has to happen. This is like, we'll figure that out eventually, but it doesn't have to happen by Monday. Anyway, let's get to cleaning. Before I put that light away, I'm going to show you what it looks like under there. Get some B-roll. This area, not proud of, but it's functional. Okay, so I'm so freaking close. I have installed a plugin manager for Reaper so that I could install a plugin called Relearn, so that Relearn can listen to MIDI and adjust parameters on Reaper. Problem is, the MIDI connection for Companion is kind of a pain in the butt to install. And so I gave up on that, and I was like, well, Stream Deck probably has a MIDI tool, and it does, but it needs a very specific configuration on the Mac in order to get it to talk to Reaper. So I'm about to watch a video on that, but I have 8 minutes left on this battery, and so I'm going to change battery because I still feel like I'm so close, and maybe it's just a tease and I'm just going to be disappointed all over again. All right, let's learn how to configure MIDI. Okay. It's done. Not done, but I figured it out. Finally. Can't use Companion because it doesn't do MIDI very well. So we're going to use Stream Deck. Stream Deck over MIDI into Reaper. It's done. I took a video for myself because I know future me is not gonna remember all these steps and details and little boxes to check, and make sure you check this parameter, and you've got 6 different things to check. But once they're set, they're set. So, holy cow. Okay, it's done. Now, so it's working for one. So like this one is adjusting the right thing. But because there are 4 ins and 4 in-ears, that means there are 16 of those that have to be set up. Not a big deal, because now it's just this goes to this goes to this. And then I'm going to configure it so that it's a little more user-friendly on this one. So like you press this button, it brings up those 4, so you're not always looking at all 16. It can't display all 16, so it doesn't matter. So now it's just mapping it and just doing it over and over and over. So, AirPods in, some kind of high BPM playlist, possibly a cup of freaking coffee just to get up and walk around for a second. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go make a cup of coffee, walk around for a second, and then come back, rinse, wash, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat, something like that. We're going to do the thing several times in a row. And then set it up out there, make sure this connection is still good over the Cat 5, and then done for the day, and the project is done, and it's all working, and it's how I wanted it, and it's I was thinking we were gonna have to it's gonna be one of those things we'll have to figure out later, and it's not gonna be December, it's gonna be January, and I'm gonna be disappointed, and it's gonna be like springtime until we figure this out. But it's done, figured it out, freaking excited. Okay, let's get a cup of coffee. All right, playlist selected, ready to go. Speed it up.
All right, I've got 5 minutes left on this battery, and the project is done. All the Stream Deck stuff is working, thankfully. I'm sure that there is some kind of kink that we will hit tomorrow, as we're putting it through its first test after all the revisions and things. I've already submitted a request to buy a little switch to go under the table rather than it having to run 2 Cat 5 cables all the time. Let's just put a switch in, because it may be helpful to have more network ports under there anyway. But that's it. This project is done. It took so much longer than expected, but it is awesome. Ease of use is fantastic. We'll see what the hosts and the producers think as they record some shows this week and next week. But that's the last major studio project for this calendar year. So we've got a few more things to shoot next week. But yeah, that's it for major projects for the studio. Thanks for sticking around. If you made it to this long in the video, hopefully it's not 2.5 hours long. But anyway, thanks for watching.
Click that like button, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, hit the holler horn.